Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast.
It's great to be here.
I want to start today's deep dive with a scenario. A scenario that I think, every single professional listening right now has probably lived through about 1,000 times.
I think I know where you're going with this.
You sit down at your desk. It's 9:00 a.m. You've got your coffee. It's perfect. You have your to-do list. You are absolutely determined to crush a project. You feel, ready.
The intention is there, but the environment isn't.
Exactly. You open your laptop. You just need to check one tiny little fact for a report. So you open a browser tab, and while you're there, you see a headline.
Of course.
So you click that. Then you remember an email you forgot to send. Then a notification pings on your phone.
And suddenly the cascade begins.
It's an avalanche. You look up, 45 minutes have vanished. You have, 17 tabs open, your coffee is stone cold, and the actual work, you haven't written the first sentence.
It's the universal struggle.
Yeah.
It really is. And the worst part is how it usually ends, right? We sit there beating ourselves up thinking, why am I so lazy? Why don't I have any discipline?
Yeah, it feels like a personal failure, like we just aren't good enough at working.
Yeah.
But the source material we're unpacking today, this really comprehensive guide called Using Website Blockers by Felix Rummer, it totally rejects that idea.
That's what makes it so refreshing. Rumor argues right from the start that this isn't about you lacking willpower. It's about the fact that you're bringing a knife to a gunfight.
A gunfight, I like that.
You're fighting against algorithms and, whole teams of engineers whose entire job is to hijack your brain.
I really want to dig into that because I think a lot of us still feel like we should be able to just resist. Why does the article say willpower isn't enough?
It boils down to basic psychology versus some very advanced technology. The guide explains that social media, news sites, even our inboxes, they're all designed around novelty and variable rewards.
Like a slot machine.
Exactly like a slot machine. When you pull to refresh a feed, you might see something boring, or you might see something really exciting. That uncertainty is what triggers the dopamine. And trying to use willpower to fight a supercomputer that knows your brain's chemistry, well, it's not a fair fight.
So the premise of this deep dive is really about evening the odds. We're talking about website blockers. And I have to be honest, when I first hear that phrase, my mind immediately goes to parental controls.
That's a really common misconception, but this guide frames blockers as a strategic business tool. It's about reclaiming your attention. The goal isn't just restriction, it's about lowering your cognitive load.
Cognitive load. Let's unpack that. How does a piece of software blocking Facebook actually help my brain?
Well, think about it this way. Every time your phone buzzes or every time you feel that little twitch to open a new tab, you have to make a conscious decision. You have to actively use your willpower to say no.
And that takes energy.
A significant amount of mental energy. It literally burns glucose.
Okay.
So if you spend your first hour fighting off 20 little urges, you've depleted the very energy you needed for the actual project.
So the blocker acts as a shield?
It acts as a decision removal tool. That's the key. When the option is simply removed. Yeah, when the site literally won't load, you stop negotiating with yourself. Your brain stops knocking on the door, and it can finally settle into the work. You can get into a flow state much faster.
That makes so much sense. It's like if there are cookies on the counter, I have to decide not to eat them every time I walk by. But if there are no cookies in the house, I just move on.
That's a perfect analogy. And this is the distinction the article makes between parental controls and productivity blockers. Parental controls are about surveillance. Productivity blockers are about autonomy.
Autonomy.
Yes, you're the architect. It's not your boss monitoring you. You are setting your own boundaries because you value your own time. It's a tool for self-regulation, not, punishment.
I like that framing. We're the architects. Okay, so let's look at the blueprints. The article breaks these tools down into different tiers. Let's start with tier 1, the entry-level stuff.
Right. Tier 1 is for the learner. Someone who's never used a blocker, wants a quick win, and maybe doesn't want to spend money yet. This is where you find the browser extensions.
And what's the standout tool here?
According to Romer, the real heavy hitter in the free space is LeechBlock NG.
LeechBlock, that's an aggressive name.
It is, but it's incredibly flexible. Works on Chrome, Firefox, Edge, pretty much anything. And what sets it apart is the granularity. You're not just stuck with a simple on-off switch.
So what does a complex rule look like, beyond just block YouTube?
Well, you could set a rule that says, I'm allowed to read the news, but only between 8:00 and 9:00 a.m., or you can use something called a time budget.
A budget, like an allows for distraction.
Exactly. You can tell it, I have 30 minutes of distraction time per day. and you can use it whenever you want. But once that 30 minutes is gone, those sites are shut down for the rest of the day.
I really like that approach. It's not about total deprivation. It's about being intentional.
Right. It teaches you to value that scroll time. For people who want something even simpler, the article mentions tools like Stay Focused or just Limit. They pretty much just do that daily cap feature. Super easy.
Okay, so these sound great for getting your feet wet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate. If I have an extension blocking Twitter on Chrome and I really want to check it, what stops me from just opening Safari?
Ah, yes. You have just discovered the Tier 1 loophole.
I'm guessing I'm not the only one.
Not at all. It's classic user behavior. Browser extensions are easy to bypass. If you're stressed or bored, your brain will find a way around them. You'll just switch browsers or disable the extension.
Oh, I just need to check this one thing for work and poof, I'm gone. So if I'm that person, and I suspect a lot of us are, we need to graduate. Let's talk Tier 2, the heavy hitters.
This is where things get serious. Tier 2 is all about system-wide blocking and solving what the article calls the app hopping problem.
App hopping.
You know the drill. You block a site on your computer, you feel all proud of yourself, and then 10 seconds later, you pick up your phone.
The classic pivot. My laptop is a fortress of solitude, but my phone is a casino right next to it.
Exactly. And to solve that, the article points to the biggest player in the space. Freedom.
Freedom. I've definitely heard of this one. It's a paid tool, right?
It is. And the reason it's paid is because of its server-side syncing. That's the killer feature. If you start a deep work session on your computer, Freedom sends that signal to your iPhone, your Android, your tablet, all at once.
So if I block Instagram on my desktop, it automatically bricks the app on my phone at the exact same time.
Correct. There is no escape route. You can't just pivot to the other screen.
That is powerful. And honestly, probably worth the money if it saves you an hour a day.
That's the argument Rumor makes. It's an investment, it's a subscription, but they also have a forever license. And if you think about your hourly rate, reclaiming even 20 minutes of focus a day pays for that license very, very quickly.
And doesn't it have a mode for when you really can't trust yourself?
It does. Locked mode. This is essential for deadlines. In standard mode, you can always quit the session. In locked mode, you can't. You are locked in until that timer hits 0, even if you restart your computer.
High stakes. Okay, what if I'm mostly a desktop user? Maybe my big distractions are actually on the computer, like video games or a desktop app.
Then you'd want to look at Cold Turkey Blocker. This is a system-wide tool for Mac and Windows. And the big difference is that Cold Turkey doesn't just block websites, it can block applications.
Oh, interesting. So it could block, like, the Steam client or Discord.
Exactly. If your Vice is playing a game when you should be coding, Cold Turkey can block the game executable itself. And it has a feature that I find equal parts terrifying and brilliant, called Frozen Turkey.
Frozen turkey, what on earth does that do?
It locks you out of your computer entirely.
Wait, like a blank screen?
A blank screen, you can't log in, you can't do anything. It turns your computer into a very expensive paperweight for as long as the timer is set.
Wow, that is hardcore. But I can see the value. Sometimes you just need to be forced to take a break.
And just to add to the hardcore nature, it has uninstall protection. You literally cannot uninstall the app while a block is active. You just have to wait it out.
It saves you from your future, weaker self. Now, speaking of nuclear options, there's one more for Mac users that the article mentions.
Ah, yes. Self-control.
The original.
It is. It's free. It's open source. Very simple. You have a blacklist, a timer, and a start button. But once you click start, that is it. It modifies the system at a root level. You cannot undo it.
Even if I delete the app.
Or restart.
Doesn't matter. Delete the app, restart the computer, it makes no difference. Those sites are dead to you until the timer runs out.
That's the tying yourself to the mast strategy.
It really is. And for some people, knowing there is absolutely no way back is the only way they can relax into their work.
Okay, so those are the fortresses. Freedom, cold turkey, self-control. But let's dial it back a bit. Not everyone needs a fortress. Sometimes you just need a nudge. What about tier 3? This is the friction and gamification tier. The philosophy here isn't to build a wall, but to install a speed bump. It's for a more gentle approach.
A speed bump. I like that image. What's an example?
There's a brilliant tool called OneSec, and its premise is so simple, but psychologically very sound. When you try to open a distracting app like Instagram, it doesn't just block you. Instead, it makes you wait through a full-screen breathing animation for about 10 seconds.
Just a pause.
Just a pause. But that pause is crucial. It interrupts the automatic loop, that muscle memory. It engages the thinking part of your brain and gives you a moment of choice. It basically asks, do you actually want to do this, or are you just bored?
That's fascinating because half the time I don't even realize my thumb has tapped the icon.
Exactly. 1 sec breaks that. And a lot of users find that once they take that breath, they realize, actually, no, I don't want to be here. And they just close it.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
like mindfulness training. What about the gamification side? I've seen people post pictures of virtual trees.
Yes, that would be forest. Hugely popular. The idea is when you want to focus, you plant a virtual seed. As long as you stay in the app, the tree grows. If you leave to check Facebook, your tree withers and dies.
The guilt. I couldn't kill the virtual tree.
It weaponizes your empathy against your distraction. But here's the best part. Romer highlights that Forest partners with a real charity. So when you earn enough virtual coins from focusing, they plant real trees in the real world.
That is so cool. So my productivity actually helps the planet.
It connects your deep work to a larger purpose. And finally, in this tier, for professionals who live by their calendar, there's a tool called Session.
How is Session different?
It's a Pomodoro timer, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, but it has blocking built right in. And its best feature, especially for remote teams, is the Slack integration.
Oh, what does it do with Slack?
When you start a focus session, it can automatically update your Slack status to focusing and mute your notifications for you.
That's incredible for remote workers. Because in an office, people can see you have headphones on. They know not to bother you.
Exactly. We lack those visual cues when we work remotely. Session acts as that digital do not disturb sign. It really helps prevent that burnout feeling of having to be available every second.
So we have the tools. We have extensions, fortresses, speed bumps. But owning a hammer doesn't make you a carpenter. We need a strategy. The article has a whole section on implementation. How do we not mess this up?
This is maybe the most critical part. The big warning here is to avoid the trap of overblocking.
What does that look like?
It's when you get all motivated, you download Freedom and you block everything, but you accidentally block a research site you need, or maybe a communication tool like Zoom.
And then you're stuck.
You're stuck, you get frustrated, you disable the blocker to get to that one tool, and suddenly the floodgates are open and you're back on Twitter.
So what's the fix?
The article suggests using an allow list strategy or whitelisting. Instead of listing every bad site in the world, you just block the entire internet by default.
The whole internet.
The whole thing. And then you only allow the 3 or 4 tools you actually need for that task. Like, allow Google Docs, Trello, and Spotify. Everything else is dark.
That's smart. It's like a VIP section. Only the essential apps get in.
Right. It's much safer. The other key strategy is scheduling.
Automation.
Automation beats willpower every single time. Don't wake up and decide if you're going to focus. Set a recurring schedule. Every weekday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., my distractions are blocked. Period.
I love that. It takes the emotion right out of it. You don't have to feel like working.
Yeah.
The machine just creates the right environment.
And that consistency builds the habit. Your brain learns, okay, it's 9 a.m., the fun part of the internet is gone. I guess it's time to work.
We're basically training ourselves like Pavlov's dogs, but for productivity.
In a way, yeah, but it works. And it's not just about getting more done. It's really about the quality of the work.
Right. Let's land on that. We've covered the how, but I want to talk about the why.
Yeah.
Zooming out. What does this all mean for the future of work? Why is this such a big deal now?
It's a big deal because the economy has changed. Efficiency used to be about faster tools. Now, information is infinite. The bottleneck isn't information anymore. It's attention.
Attention is the new currency.
It is. The future belongs to the people and the companies that can protect the human capacity to think deeply. The ability to focus for hours without interruption is becoming a legitimate superpower. These tools aren't just student hacks. They're essential infrastructure for meaningful work.
That's a powerful thought. We're protecting our capacity to think in a world that's constantly trying to dull it.
Absolutely. If you can control your attention, you can control your output. And if you control your output, you control your career.
Okay, let's wrap up with some actionable advice. If someone listening is inspired and wants to start today, what are the first steps?
First, start small. Don't go for a 4-hour frozen turkey session right away. You'll panic. Just try 25 minutes. Prove to yourself you can survive.
Build the confidence.
Second, if you have a real deadline, use a locked mode. Don't just rely on your promise to yourself. Lock the door.
And third,
sync your devices. If you block it on the desktop, block it on the phone. Don't leave an escape hatch open.
great advice. And I think my favorite takeaway from Rumber's article is that final thought. Use these tools to shape healthy routines. not to punish yourself.
Yes. Be kind to your brain. Just give it the space it needs to do what it does best.
Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive. I'm definitely going to be checking my own settings after this.
I think I'm going to install that 1 sec app. I could use that breathing pause.
I think we all could.
Okay.
I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for tuning in to the Smart Keys podcast. We hope this gives you some tools to find your focus.
It was a pleasure unpacking this with you.
If you found this helpful, please subscribe. We've got a lot more insights coming on the future of work. And definitely check the show notes. We have the link to that full article by Felix Romer there. It's got some great comparison tables we didn't have time to cover.
It's highly recommended reading.
Thanks for listening. And here's to your next session of deep, uninterrupted work. Catch you next time.